Hey there, friends. Welcome to week 4. Oh my God. Can you believe it? Week 4. That means we have this week and one more week and we are done. That is crazy. All right. Welcome to week 4. This week we're going to be talking about area and circumference of circles. So right there, area and circumference of circles. For this, you really need to know how to utilize the formula sheet. On the screen over here, you'll see the formula sheet. These are not formulas that you have to memorize by any standard of the imagination. These are, this is like a paper that's given to you every time that you have to take a standardized test, or when you'll be working with these, what we call geometric formulas. This week, we're going to focus mainly on circles, or actually solely on circles, to be honest with you. So we're going to be down here towards the bottom of the formula sheet looking at the circle. Couple things you need to know about circles. Boom, there's one. All right, there's a couple parts of a circle that you really need to know. The center of the circle, kind of right there if we eyeball it. So there's a line that passes through the center of the circle and connects the two sides. Forgive me for that being crooked, but that is called the diameter. So the diameter is the total length of the circle passing through the center. It connects two sides. Doesn't always go this way. It can kind of go side to side, diagonally. It doesn't really matter. It has to touch two sides of the circle and pass through the center. It's called the diameter. You can also see it on your formula sheet right there. There's kind of a key there for you. Now, half the length of the diameter from the center of the circle to just one side is called the radius. You can see that also over here. So you have a diagram of a circle on your formula sheet, but we want to know diameter all the way down, passing through the center, and then radius, which is half the length of the diameter. So those are a couple things you need to know. And then we want to talk about two vocabulary words. We want to talk about area and circumference. So the circumference of a circle is the distance around the circle. So circumference is really a fancy word for saying perimeter, right? So circumference, distance around the circle. There are two formulas to find the circumference of a circle. One is 2 times pi times the radius, and then one is pi times diameter. So you can use either one of those two formulas to find the circumference of a circle. The area is the stuff on the inside, right? So how much actual space the circle is taking up on the inside. The area, the inside of the circle, there is only one formula for, and that is pi times radius squared. Well, what is this pi scenario? So here's the symbol for pi. It's kind of those two parallel lines with a squiggly on top. That's the universal symbol for pi, Pi, right? Pi is about 3.14. Those squiggly lines right there, like that, pi is about 3.14. Pi is actually what we call an irrational number. It goes on and on and on and on and on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. But for us, we kind of round it to 3.14. This kind of stuff should be a little bit of a review. So we're going to talk about how to find the circumference and area of a circle. So let's kind of explore. Let's look first at circumference, and I'm going to pull up my Desmos calculator because it's so handy dandy. I'm going to show you a cool trick in the Desmos calculator. So if we look at this first circle, I have a diameter of 36 feet. And again, we do not have to memorize the formula for circumference. It is right here at the top. So if I look at this circle, this first example, if I look at that circle, it has a diameter of 36 feet. It has a diameter of 36 feet. So I look at the two formulas. One formula says circumference is 2 times pi times radius. And the second formula said circumference is pi times diameter. Well, if I know the diameter, I'm going to use the formula, the second one, that has that D for diameter. So with formulas, first step, write the formula. So circumference equals pi times diameter. I'm going to come over to my calculator. Remember, for pi, we're using 3.14. So in my calculator over here, I'm going to type 3.14D, right? There's my formula. I can also do C equals 3.14D. And then I'm going to say 3.14D. So I'm going to tell the calculator over here that the diameter equals 36. Woo! You see right there? So what the calculator is doing, it's taking that 3.14 times 36, and it tells me that the circumference is 113 and 4/10 feet, right? So you plug in the formula. You're going to type the formula just as you see it using 3.14 for pi, and then you tell the calculator what you know. Diameter is 36. Boom, it calculates it right there. Can't be easier than that. So if I scroll up to my next example, I have a circle, again, with a radius of 4 meters. So if I scroll back up to that formula sheet, circumference equals 2 times pi times the radius. So I come down here and I write that down. 2 times pi times the radius. So let's go over to the calculator. Let's clear this and let's type in our formula. Circumference equals 2 times 3.14 times r, right? I type in the formula. Well, the radius is 4 meters. So I tell the calculator r equals 4. And boom, right there, 25.12. So circumference is 25.12 or 12 hundredths meters long. It is literally that simple, right? So you just, plug in the formula, plug in what you know, it'll solve for what you do not know. Easy, easy peasy peasy. So let's start looking at area. When we look at the formula for area, area equals pi times radius squared, right? So here's where it can get tricky. We're going to do this first one down here before we do this top one. So if area equals pi times radius squared, right? I'm going to type that into my formula. Area equals 3.14 times r, and then I come over and hit this little squared button, right? Times radius squared. And what is the radius for meter? Radius is from the center to one side. So right here, the radius is 4 meters. So I come back to my calculator and I say r equals 4. So that means that the area of this circle is 50.24 meters squared, right? If we square the radius, we square the units right here, meters squared. So area is 50 and 24 hundredths meters squared. So that's if you know the radius. But what if they give you the diameter? You cannot use this number for r, right? That's the diameter. We have to use the radius. So if I keep my formula there in my Desmos calculator, right? We learned at the beginning of the video that the diameter is 2 times the radius, right? Or the radius is diameter divided by 2, right? Because from here to here, there's one radius. And then from here to here, here's another, right? So 2 radiuses together, 2 radii, I don't know how to pluralize radius, form the diameter, right? But we just want half the length of the diameter. So if I know the diameter is 36, I can divide that by 2. And it'll calculate here for me what the area is using that 36 divided by 2, which is 18. So it's plugging in 18 for that r and then squaring it, then multiplying it by the pi. So let's kind of recap. If you know the radius, you plug in what you know for r. So down here, the radius was 4. If you don't know the radius, like we had up here, you take diameter divided by 2, and that will give you the radius. So for this one, our area ended up being 1,017 and 36 feet squared. Remember, when you're dealing with area, you want to square that unit. Don't put the 2 here. It goes here, okay? So there are things that you need to know. So with formulas, remember, you do not have to memorize that formula sheet. I'm going to give that to you. You're going to get it everywhere that you go, right? So when you're taking an assessment, what happened? What happened? When you're taking an assessment, you will get that formula sheet, so you don't have to memorize these. Remember, if you forget any parts of the circle, there's a diagram right here. Diameter, the full length of the circle, radius is half from the center to the edge. Pi is right here. Remember, we do not use the symbol for pi on the calculator. We will literally type in 3.14. So now that we know all those things and how to use that Desmos, woohoo, we're at the end. So please, for the love of all the good things, finish the lesson slide. So watch the next video, do the notes, do the quizzes, type in your quizzes score. Complete the interactive slide next. Make sure when you go to the choice board, you use the circle that I put there and you put it over your choice. You have to complete your choice. Don't just send me an empty document. I'm going to send it back. And then post a shareable link, right? You have to hit that yellow share button and then get the link from there to paste it on your final slide. If you decide to take the checkup, the quiz that's in Schoology, remember, you can take it up to 5 times, but you have to get at least that 70% for me to count it. And then turn in your assignment, please. And then remember, we only have 1 week after this week, and we'll be done, which is crazy. All right, love you, friends. If you have any questions, let me know.